Um, Before I begin talking with you guys about this rumor circulating, I'm going to recap a piece of scripture. Okay, I'm going to recap a piece of scripture. So, the scripture I'm recapping from has to do with Jesus and the fact that he repeatedly said who he was, repeatedly showed who he was in his works and his actions, and showed that he was a good person. All right, Jesus healed people. He taught people about the way of the Father. Uh, you know, he moved into a wilderness place and a wilderness experience. He get charged up by speaking with his Father. Come back out. All Jesus did was good. There's a little song that says, "Everywhere he went, my God was doing good." So he let the leadership of his own nation, his own people, the Sadducees and the Pharisees, and even their king, Herod, know without a doubt that he was a good person. Know without a doubt that his claims, he had been honest and truthful, that his claims of who he was were supported by everything. The evidence was there. He was the Son of God. Yet they rejected him. They rejected what he said he was. They rejected, even though everything he did, everything he said, they could not debate. They couldn't find fault with it. Let's fast forward. Let's fast track to today. The fans have been telling Warner Brothers, without a shadow of a doubt, what they want. They have a track record. They have works behind it. They have supported the things that they wanted. They have supported the things that they're interested in. So you got to ask this question. Why would David Zazeloff want to bring the head of Marvel, Kevin Feige, to DC? Why would he do that? When the fans have been saying all along what kinds of movies they want. They've been supporting the movies that they want. They have not been supporting the movies they did not want. Warner Brothers has brought in directors from Marvel. Shout out to Leroy Kong in the building. Leroy, how are you doing, brother? Bruce Timm should leave DC Films. Zazeloff is a clown. All right, let me go back to what I said. Uh, they've tried Marvel directors. James Gunn, Josh Whedon, both directors who directed Marvel movies. Their both films flopped. Why would you now go and bring in the head of Marvel to try to bring forth a formula that would work for DC? What works for Marvel works for Marvel. It doesn't work for DC. You have a different set of fans. So this rumor that's going around that War Stew, which is surprising, actually buys into, and he feels it's such a great idea, which I tell him is a terrible idea. It's a okay, is something that I personally wouldn't care for, and probably the majority of DC fans wouldn't care for. No, some DC fans from, certain kind of background, I've been talking with one of them, who, he has his ideas of Superman. But most DC fans who go to the cinema and support movies wouldn't support those movies. You're just giving us more of what we asked you not to give us. Now, I'm going to address Leroy Kong's point very quickly. Leroy Kong says Bruce Timm would be a great DC studio head for DC Films. I'm going to say no, and I'll explain why. Bruce Timm has not been an executive producer on any DC live action movie. The person with the most experience in live action production, producer, has been an executive producer on several successful DC films, has been and will always be Deborah Snyder. Deborah Snyder has executive produced a number of DC films. Walter Hamada was successful with Inline Studios, right? Is it Inline Studios? New Line Studios with the horror flicks. He was a successful producer. He produced successfully a number of New Line Studio films, which is why they moved him across to DC, because he had success there. Deborah Snyder has been in the advertising business. She's been managing, and she also produced for advertising. She's managed and produced for independent film, and she's managed and produced in Warner Brothers for the majority of Warner Brothers films, as did Zack Snyder, but she has more executive production than Zack Snyder. She is more than qualified. She is the most qualified person right now to lead DC Studio, the DC Films franchise. Zack Snyder wouldn't be the one at the head of DC because he's probably going to be doing films. But Deborah Snyder, I believe, is the most qualified. We can't say Jim Lee, because Jim Lee, great illustrator, really knows the DC lore, but he has not executive produced for a single DC film. Okay? Jeff Johns has been executive producing for several DC films, but he's had a number of DC films he's executive produced which have been flops. Finally, Deborah Snyder has produced now, not executive produced, she has produced for successful DC films. So, quite frankly, I think that the most qualified person to lead DC is Deborah Snyder, a woman. A woman. And I'm sure she works well with Jim Lee, she works well with other execs. I believe she will do an outstanding job, and it's about time we had a woman in charge anyway. So I just think that would be the best case scenario. There are several other people who are as qualified who have done film. This is important. You have to have, this is film. This is not fucking anime. Excuse my F-bomb. This is not animation. This is not a TV series. Okay? This is film. So you need somebody who's qualified in film. You can't just pull people from any old place. You need somebody who has a successful track record with film, understands film, understands what it takes and what the different departments are in film, and knows how to work together with everybody. And that person is more, there's nobody more hands-on than Deborah Snyder. She is actually more qualified than Walter Hamada for DC properties, and DC films particularly. I don't know why. This is not rocket science. She is working with, right now, Zack Snyder with Rebel Moon, but that's the person, if you want an ideal situation, that's the person who I think should be in charge of DC films. That's to address Leroy Kong's statement. Now, Leroy Kong is going on to say Zazeloff is a clown. I believe Leroy Kong feels a how about the CW being shut down, and so he's mad at Zazeloff for that. But me personally, I thought some of the films, some of the series on the CW are going to be transferred to HBO Max. All right? And the rest of the CW, you know, it is what it is. They came to an end. You know, that agency has been working at a loss for the longest while and just indebting Warner Brothers. It's about time they made a move like that. So I personally don't think that David Zaslav's a clown for doing so. But I guess Leroy Kong, because of certain content that he continuously watches, you know, the Supergirl is now over, the Flash and the Arrowverse is going to come to an end. I guess Leroy Kong feels a how about that. And I get it. But me personally, I don't think Zaslav's a clown at all. I differ with Leroy Kong in that point of view. I think he's doing the right thing. And I do not think that he's going to hire Kevin Feige at all to work on the DC properties unless he wants a lashback that he'd never seen before, and none of his films make a profit at all. Okay, because none of us will support that. Most DC fans, I mean, maybe Leroy Cohn might support Kevin Feige going across. I don't know. What do you say, Leroy? I don't. Not me. I'm sorry. I'm not in that at all. But what I'm gonna say is that, uh, quite frankly, um, most DC fans are fans of Zack Snyder's movies. Most of them. How we know this? Look at the box office. If a film is successful at the box office, because those Snyder Cut fans or those Snyder fans or those DC Snyder fans are the ones that supported it. If they don't come out, it's not happening. And the interesting thing about us as Snyder fans, as well, we're going to go specifically Snyder fans, DC Snyder fans, because not necessarily are you a fan of all of Snyder's movies. You may be a fan of Snyder's DC movies, or you may be a fan of some other wider things, but not all of his movies, right? But for the Snyder fans, whatever you want to call them, or DC Snyder fans, if they're not supporting the movie that you're putting out there, your movie's going to flop. Period. And we've seen it time and time again. Or it will not be as successful as previous movies. So you can't have the Snyder fan base not supporting. We're a tremendous and mainstream is going to go with, because see, here's the thing. Even though Snyder fans are not the majority of fans out there, we're not the majority of fans out there, we generate such a buzz and such heat, and that people want to see the movies that we like. And most people like the movies that Snyder fans like. Anyway, even the ones that hate on the films, they really can't really say much, because all of these films are action movies, and the action is just always crazy. Okay? Zack Snyder used super speed in his movies. The reason why Zack Snyder would use slow-mo in his movies was, yes, sometimes to show grandioseness, but usually to slow down how fast these guys are moving, so you can see what they're doing. So anyway, Kevin Feige is not a good idea for DC, because all Kevin Feige will do is use the model that's in Marvel and in DC, and we don't need that. We don't need Marvel in DC. This is what a lot of people don't understand. You want a balanced universe, you want a universe, just stick to the directors you have and let them do their division. That's it. All right? Zazeloff just recently said that Henry Cavill will be showing up in Black Adam. That's a given. And the other thing we're finding out is he'll be, according to Zazeloff, he'll be coming in the blue suit from Man of Steel, specifically the Man of Steel suit. So maybe this means that this is a timepiece where Henry Cavill, Black Adam is happening actually at the time when Henry Cavill is still, the Man of Steel Superman. It's not a BVS Superman. The BVS suit is different to the Man of Steel suit. So obviously, if that is the case, according to what Sil has just found out, the other thing is Henry Cavill came and tried on the suit in June. So all of that happened. So Henry Cavill already shot the scene. That happened early this month. So that's some great news, again, to hear that Henry Cavill will be somewhere at the end of Black Adam, which is great. It's about time. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Henry Cavill, they have the same manager, so it should be doable, and I'm so glad to hear that. If we see Henry Cavill show up in Black Adam, that means now we have all of the Trinity. Henry Cavill's not going to be expendable. He's not going to be removed. He's not going to be replaced. David Zazeloff is going to go with Henry Cavill, Batman, who is Ben Affleck, and Gal Gadot. Those three are in it to win it for the next 10 years. Okay? And what will seal the deal is if we see Ray Fisher's Cyborg in The Flash. Now, I'm going to say this. Some people were saying that the Flash movie is probably the most lit movie, and it has had the highest screen rating for screenings, which doesn't mean shit. The description of the Flash I didn't particularly like, to be honest with you, and it didn't impress me. They were saying that the movie is adventuresome, funny at times. It's a fun movie, And anytime you say fun, it really sends up my antennas. I'm like, why does it need to be fun? You don't have to mention it's fun. If it's fun, we will know. You don't have to tell me it's fun. Okay? So when they started saying that kind of crap, I was like, it's probably shit, right? But they're saying that it could be a pretty good movie. We'll see. I don't know. And they're talking about they'll bring back Christopher Reeve Superman, and they're gonna bring back the old Wonder Woman and all that kind of stuff. Whatever. All I want to know is that the movie keeps the heroes serious. You're not trying to do slapstick humor in there. I don't need the jokes and then the dramatic jokes and then dramatic. Hopefully, Andy Muschietti gets that. Because listen, what made DC in terms of films is the unique way in which the characters are portrayed. They're not freaking, typical boring Hollywood bullshit. I hate saying it like that. But I really don't like the Hollywood, and the typical tropes and the typical dialogue that you hear in Hollywood. This is what made BVS so great. The dialogue was just different. When Lex Luthor, when the guy was shaking his head like, no, when the guy said, I got a proposal for you, and so on. And he said, step into my office. And then the guy says, you want Zod's body? And he says, please. Instead of, yes, I want Zod's body. You know what I mean? Just different. Okay? We don't need the typical run-of-the-mill nonsense. Okay? So, I'm cool with, you know, uh, David Zaslaff's direction so far. People are calling him a clown stuff. Leroy Khan, apparently he's pissed off with David Zaslaff because, David Zaslaff canceled Batgirl. He's slashing and burning shit. That's not profitable to the company. So he can manage debt and also invest in movies and things, and entertainment that is meaningful, that she can bring returns. So I guess Leroy's angry about that. But me personally, I am so impressed with David Zaslav because I am not like Leroy Khan. I don't ingest everything that's DC, and so I guess Leroy's gonna be a little bit mad about that. But me personally, I don't ingest everything of DC. I look for things that are quality. I know that Superman and Lewis, that's going to continue on for a little bit, and it's okay. I mean, as a TV movie, it's a TV series. It's not bad. There's several other things that are kept, but you know, for me, I like certain kinds of movies, so it's not, I'm not like Leroy Kong where he enjoys everything. But what I would suggest to Leroy Kong is, who knows, wherever they sell the CW to, maybe it will be still alive and maybe it'll be around, but it'll just be in somebody else's hands. You know what I mean? So I like what David Zaslav's doing. Uh, I differ in opinion. Leroy's an awesome guy. I just differ in opinion to him. That doesn't mean that we are at odds with each other. We shouldn't be at war with each other. I know we are not. I know Leroy is very passionate about DC. He loves a lot of things about DC. So I'm sure as time goes along and he realizes what David Zaslav and his team is doing, and maybe, who knows, maybe bigger and better stuff coming up around the horizon. Maybe those things that are canceled right now are just temporarily shelved, and maybe they come back bigger and better with a better budget, down the road. So I don't think that bothers me any. And it looks like Zaslav is moving along the lines of restoring the Snyderverse. We will see. Everything is but I'm telling you, man, Jesus let him know where it works and everything, and we as fans, we're letting Zaslav clearly know where we're coming from. So unless he has some sort of, we are an inbuilt fan base. So if you please us, if you, that's what it seems as though he's moving in, because Henry Cavill, if he moves in the direction where he pleases us, we're going to have a lovely relationship. I don't give a damn about the critics. People say, well, critics are the audience too, but they don't pay for nothing. If they're going to go and pay their money to go watch movies, then I care about them because their opinions will matter. If they're not paying to see the movies, I don't give a damn about them. I'm just being honest with you guys. Okay? Because it comes down to people paying to see movies. And if the people are paying, and I can tell you right now, as a fact, Zack Snyder's movies and the DCU movies that right now, Zack Snyder's getting a lot of respect, right? Right now. There is an inbuilt fan base for almost anything that Zack Snyder does. Okay? Right now. Army of the Dead. Then we had Army of Thieves. We got an animation coming. We got Rebel Moon. Rebel Moon 2 is already greenlit on Netflix. Netflix loves Zack Snyder. Let me make this abundantly clear. We are going to support any film that Zack Snyder puts out. I'm going to get Netflix just to see the film. Just to support. Because you've got to understand something. And if David Zazeloff, I'm just going to be real with y'all. If David Zazeloff is going on the right direction with the DC properties, for me, I can't talk about anybody else. For me, then I might just buy HBO Max back. I might subscribe again. I might subscribe to HBO Max and Netflix, and I'll watch both of them. Because here's the thing. I'm not interested in Disney. I'm not interested in any other streaming networks. The reason is because I want to see Zack Snyder's movies. Right? To me, they have an inherent value, and it's something that's really thought out. So, yeah. And if, let's say, for example, Black Adam does very, very well. I'm hoping it does. Because I'm going to see it. Definitely going to see it. However, let me make this abundantly clear. I'm going to see Black Adam. But in The Flash, I'm going to tell you, dude, I don't care how exciting The Flash is. If Ray Fisher is not in The Flash, I'm not supporting that movie. Period. Okay? Black Adam and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson has nothing to do. He didn't really have close ties with Walter Hamada and Hamadaverse as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to go see Black Adam because it's a different company. It's not New Line Cinema that produced that. It's a separate company that produced this movie. So Warner Brothers is going to distribute it, but it's a separate company. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is kind of separate entity to the New Line Cinema films that were produced through Walter Hamada, who used to be in New Line Cinema with Toby Everett. But Black Adam is a separate sort of thing. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, to be honest with you, has never really picked sides. He's never said, he likes Zack Snyder stuff. Obviously, they're starting to promote on the lines of what Zack Snyder's been doing with the black and white and all that. And maybe he may want to do a black and white version. If his movie's serious enough, and I can take The Rock seriously, and I can take Black Adam seriously, it's going to be a hit. It's going to be a success. Because if I like it, more than likely most Snyder Cut fans will like it as well. And here's the thing. The future looks bright if he gets through with that movie. And that movie makes money. But it ain't going to make no damn money if it's one of those slapstick humor films, and they kind of cheapen it out and they make jokes. Let me tell you something. Maybe it works for Marvel, but it ain't going to work for any other studio. Just throwing in jokes there to try and break the reality of a situation and the seriousness of a situation, it don't cut it for me. Okay, I've been through too much in life to think that somebody can just joke about a situation and that's it. So if any of that's in Black Adam, I'm gonna trash that movie. Period. Okay? So they better know what they're doing with Black Adam. They better know what they're doing with Black Adam. And I think Black Adam's going to be a serious movie. We'll see. I got to say, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he looks in impeccable shape. Impeccable shape. So, I got that respect for him. I look at him and I'm like, man, this guy. And I have the black and white picture of him on my phone. Maybe I'll put up the picture of him so you guys can see. The man just, massive. And he's just like, he looked menacing. And I was like, God damn, just imagine him against Superman and Shazam. Superman and Shazam had to tag team to take on Black Adam. You know what I mean? So who knows? How, Black Adam's pretty powerful. And he's magic. He's from magic. And magic is Superman's kryptonite, right? So we're going to see. We're going to see. You know what I mean? I'm not excited for Black Adam, but I'm excited for the future. And excited for what what DC could be and the direction it's going in. So I'm very excited for that. And this is why I gotta see Black Panther. The movie itself doesn't seem very impressive to me personally at this point in time. When they drop the next trailer, I'll know if this the movie for me. You know, but with Wonder Woman, I wasn't stoked about Wonder Woman either. Until the first trailer dropped, and I was like, I gotta see this movie. And the nice thing about Wonder Woman was how it was advertised. It was advertised as a serious story, so that when you went into the cinema, that's why I said to people, why are they saying this movie's fun? Why do you keep on reviewing and telling us this movie's fun and me? We have two eyes. We will judge for ourselves. When we go into the cinema, we're gonna know if it's fun or not. Wonder Woman was surprisingly funny. And it wasn't funny, but I'm just saying it was surprisingly funny. There were some funny scenes in Wonder Woman, and that was a surprise to everybody, and it was great. It was a great movie for that. You know, um, you don't need to sell people on if a movie's fun or not. Shoot, and I don't want to see a whole set of bright colors either. What do you think this is? The Clown Fest? You know what I mean? Colorful clowns? I mean, come on, man. This is superhero movies, and they don't have to be bright and shiny. That's Marvel's thing. Okay? And guess what? I don't like Marvel. Some DC fans like Marvel. I don't. The movies particularly, they don't interest me. When everybody was hype about Infinity War, I was like, that's a load of shit. Okay? I'm just letting y'all guys know, just explicitly, that ain't my thing. That's why I don't talk about it. Okay? There's only like 2 Marvel movies I really like. The first Captain America movie, which apparently Marvel fans don't like so much. And the other one is Black Panther. And when it began, I was like, the same Marvel shit. But I let it come true in me. I then, oh yeah, the movie was good. That's it. 2 movies. 2. Okay? That's it. Out of all the Marvel's catalog, all their big mashup movies, the Avenger movies, and all of that, there are only 2 movies I like out of Marvel. Okay? Do I like Captain America? I love Captain America, the guy who played Captain America. I love him. Do I think he was in great movies? No. Okay? That's just my personal opinion. So when just imagine this now. Imagine the guy who put out all of that stuff coming across to DC. I'm not going to be interested in DC because he's not going to put out anything that I like. Why would you take a guy who does well in his area of expertise, okay, and he's with Marvel, something that I am not interested in, and then you're going to bring him across to DC so that I don't have to be interested in DC. Now you're just making me not like DC, not like Marvel. Because now the guy who made the content or was responsible for the content that I saw on Marvel that I did not like is going to come across to DC and do the same thing to DC. Why the hell would I want that? So ultimately, in the end, I don't want Kevin Feige to come across to DC and make it Marvel, which is what it will be. Alan Horn has been at Marvel and he's been at DC. He's helped both of them because Alan Horn is the guy who greenlights things, and he's good at doing that. He doesn't. He may not be interested in what you're doing, but if you sell it right to him, he's going to greenlight it. Okay, that's the way Alan Horn works. So what I'm basically saying is, as a creative, you have to find somebody who has a history with DC. You got to find somebody who has a history with DC films. You got to find somebody who's passionate about DC. Ain't no rocket science who that person should be. Christopher Nolan recommended the guy. Zack Snyder, right? But Zack Snyder, he have to direct movies and all of that, so he would not oversee the whole thing. The one who manages him, the one who oversees him and his movies, the one who oversees what's it called? What's it called? Stone, whatever, Stone Builder or whatever. I can't remember what their production company is. She's Deborah Snyder, who's been managing Zack Snyder for the longest while. That's the one. You take her, you put her there, and boom, shaka you good. That's it. Why are we going looking for somebody outside of DC? Why? Why? DC has its own culture. Warner Brothers DC has its own culture. Why would you take somebody outside that culture and bring them in? It's not been working. So that's what I got for you guys. Just like how Jesus was telling them who he was, and he was giving evidence of it. We as fans are telling Warner Brothers what we want. We've given you evidence. We've shown you we support movies that we want. Please, Mr. David Zazeloff, if you got a brain in your head, do not bring Kevin Feige across to DC to oversee it. That would be the worst thing you ever did, because he was already managing DC through Jeff Johns. And look what happened to DC. I'm going to catch you guys later. I'm Christ, I am disciple. Peace. Wow. What's wrong with your camera? I don't know, man. My phone. It won't turn off. Hold on. We're going to get him. My phone's not the best in the world. Turn off. Let me try changing the orientation. Can't change the orientation. It says rotate device. Okay, rotate. Oh, there's one. Shout out to Leroy Kong saying he's seen that Henry Cavill will be in Black Adam. Stay for the credits. First of all, I'm not a fan of post-credit scenes. You can put an epilogue at the end of a movie and have fans see the end of the movie. But post-credit stuff, really, that's an MCU thing. Please stop that. I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace. Let me see if I can turn this thing off. It's not turning off. Let me try turning the phone off. You got a dead zone on the phone? Apparently. It's absolutely not responding. So we'll have to shut it down. Come out of here? Yeah. Okay, I think I can do that. Yes, please.